Hey guys, what's up? PipSnipers here, back for another update. Let's take a look at XRP over here, and we're going to analyze every single wave count from the beginning of time, just so you guys can get a better understanding of where exactly XRP is, and so you can get a better understanding of what happened with all of the moves leading up until now. So what we had over here was the creation of your coin. You then had an ABC extension ABC correction up to the 4.236 extension, where all of the founders sell their bags. They drive the price back down to demand zone to create a double bottom, buying their bags back up again at a 94% discount, even more than that. We then start our impulsive structure to the upside, so we have a 5-wave move up to create your wave 1 up to the 100% fib. We then have a WXY correction down to the 88.6% fib, lasting over 762 days before we start our January 2017 bull market. After having a WXY correction down to the 88.6% fib, or our wave 2, we then start our explosive wave 3 to the upside, going up over 100,000%. Okay, we went up over, 100,000, about 100,000%. We had a 5-wave move to the upside with our 5th wave of our macro 3rd wave hitting the golden pocket. We then have what's called a 335 Elliott wave flat pattern. So let's dissect the waves within our A wave. We have a 3-wave move down, a 3-wave move up, and a 5-wave move to the downside with a ending diagonal within our C wave of our macro A. Okay, so you see how we start to channel within this C wave. The waves are starting to channel, and you see that the waves are overlapping with each other. You then have a 5th wave overshoot, or a 5th wave overthrow below this psychological support over here, which would be considered our manipulation move, coming down to the 70.2% fib, which would mark the March 2020 run up. March 2020 low before we had our run up. Then so this is our A wave, right? We had a 3-wave move down within our A wave. Okay. Now for our B wave, we had a 3-wave move up. So we had a 5-wave move to the upside in the form of a leading diagonal, hit with your A wave hitting your 1.236% fib. We then have a flash crash down to the 78.6% fib. So you see this ABC coming down to the 786. And then we start our C leg within our macro B. So we have another 5-wave move up, hitting your 2.618 perfectly at $1.93. So what do we have over here? We have a 3-wave move down. Okay. We have a 3-wave move up. And then we have a 5-wave move to the downside. So what does this create? This creates a 3, 3, 5 Elliott wave flat pattern. And we can make all of these subwaves blue. We can color code the subwaves so you can differentiate better between all of the different moves. Okay, and then we have a truncation in the 5th wave. So you see how this wave 5 goes sideways over here? And it kind of fails to get going below the bottom of your 3rd wave, and the reason for that is because we had such an explosive and capitulation style move to the downside. Okay, this was very fast and took a lot of people off guard, so you had sellers running out of steam here within this 5th wave, causing it to go sideways. This C wave marked the bottom on XRP. Now we're starting our next impulsive structure to the upside. Okay, so this correction lasted over 2,200 days, and all we are doing over here was creating a base before we start our next impulsive structure to the upside. So remember that there's 2 different types of ABC corrections. There's a regular, so a lot of XRP holders, they think that XRP is in a wedge. XRP is in a wedge. However, we're not in a triangle wave. With a triangle wave, we have an A, B, C, D, and E with a 3-wave move within each wave. Okay, we're not doing that. We're also not doing a regular ABC correction where you have a 5-wave move down, 3-wave move up, and another 5 down. What we're doing after having your peak is a 3-wave move down, a 3-wave move up coming very close to the top of your A wave, and then a 5-wave move to the downside coming very close to the bottom of your A wave. So you failed to terminate above and you failed to terminate below. So you have your 3-wave move down, 3-wave move up, and a 5-wave move to the downside. This would be your A, this would be your B, and then this would be your C before you start your next impulse to the upside. Okay, so that's exactly what we were doing with XRP. In January 2023, we had the bottom come in. We then had what's called a leading diagonal, similar to that of 2020. However, the only difference is that in 2020, we were still within a correction, right? Now, this leading diagonal is the start of our impulsive structure. So this, instead of this being an A wave, this is actually a wave 1. Okay, so that's very good news for bulls. We bottomed out right when Bitcoin did. However, we just see XRP and the rest of the altcoin market cap it was a little bit behind. But now we're seeing the engines starting to rev up. We had a 5-wave move to the upside, hitting your 1.236. We then have a WXY correction lasting over 200 days, so a 3-wave move down, a 3-wave move up, and another 3-wave move down. And you can see that every single wave that I plotted here is calculated. Okay, you can see that we perfectly hit the fibs everywhere, right? None of this is guesswork. This is full on pure Elliott wave theory. Okay, and precision with the fibs. So after having a 5-wave move up for your leading diagonal to formulate your wave 1, we went into a WXY correction lasting over 200 days. And now we're starting our next leg, which is our 3rd wave, which would likely take out this buy side liquidity we have over here resting at $1.93, $1.94. Likely hitting your $2.30 to $2.70 region, and we're going to have some interim targets within this 3rd wave, sitting at $1.12, $1.30, and $1.60 to $1.70 range. These are the interim targets, and then these are the macro targets over here. We're likely going to take out this buy side liquidity and then creak down to the side here. We're going to have a creaking action, and this creaking action is going to make people it's going to make retail pull their hair out. They're going to think that the structure is finished and that we're going into a bear market, when in reality, this will just be a wave 4. Okay, it'll come down to any of these fibs over here, and then we'll have an extension of the 5th wave, likely above $7 to $10. Okay, so you're going to want to start to ladder out heavy at anything above $7 to $10, because I think this will be the 5th wave extension before we enter into a nasty bear market. Now, I must remind you that these targets are subject to change. These targets can change at any time. So what I would recommend you do is click the link in the description below to join the Discord. And in the Discord, I have over 300 charts that you can take a look at. I have live updates throughout the day, and you haven't seen much of my XRP analysis. In the Discord, I post a ton of XRP analysis that you guys can get your hands on. So make sure before you leave the video today, click the link in the description below and join the PipSniper membership. Okay, so let's go back to the analysis here. Okay, so this is every single wave on XRP mapped out with all of the fib targets. Okay? You won't see any XRP analysis doing this type of analysis, and I'm glad you're here today so you guys can get a better understanding of where XRP is. So this is the Elliott wave theory on XRP. We also have a different type of analysis here. Okay, before I get into that, we're going to take a look. We're going to take a little bit of a look at the small time frame here. And what we have is the start of our impulse. Okay, so this is your 5-way move to the upside to create your wave 1. You then have an ABC for your wave 2, another 5-wave move up for your wave 3. You have a falling wedge for your wave 4. Okay, now we're within our macro wave 1, okay? This is your, and then we have an ending diagonal for our 5th wave. Now you see how the waves are overlapping each other, and you're going to have an ABC within each of these waves. Okay, you're going to have an ABC within each of these waves here. Now, it looks like we may come down here. These are all of the fib supports. Okay, we may come down and find a bottom at any of these green fibs. Let's go to the 1-hour time frame. And it looks like this was your B wave, and now we're coming down for a C wave here. So we can find a wave 4 bottom. Now remember, this C wave can come down to any of the fibs below. Okay, I'm expecting it to find support at any of these fibs for our wave 4 before starting our wave 5 of our wave 1 to the upside, likely going above 82 cent or finding some resistance there. So this is the small time frame, but we mustn't get caught up. We mustn't get so caught up in this, and the reason for that is because XRP likes to move very parabolic, and we can often get caught off guard when we zoom in too much. So let's take a look at another analysis that I have here, and it's the Wyckoff accumulation analysis. So what we're doing over here is we're just analyzing this range over here at the bottom. Okay? So this over here is your preliminary supply. So you have one last upswing before entering into a selling climax. And then you have a automatic rally to the upside, because it doesn't take much money to move the price back up, because you have all the people selling their bags at this selling climax here. You then come down for your secondary test, and then your failed breakout. After your failed breakout, you come down for your secondary test in phase B, sweeping this psychological support. So this secondary test in phase B is acting as our spring. So this is our spring right here, which caused a short squeeze back up to the top of the range just to have another failed breakout. So you see how after having your secondary test in phase B, we come back up to the top of the range, then chop down to the side. Now this chop over here is will take a lot of people off guard. It'll make a lot of retail holders frustrated because they don't know what's happening. So you see how we come down to the side here, come up one more time, and then come down again. So you usually have 2 of these last point of supports before you have your sign of strength come in. After your sign of strength comes in, what you have is a move back down to around mid to the top of the range, and chop around here, form a base for your backup phase before going into phase E. Okay, and that's exactly what we did with XRP. After having your sign of strength phase, we came back down for your backup phase, chopping around here and actually forming a wedge. Now we're above this trend line resistance. We've been under this trend line resistance for 200 days. Now we're above it. So this is our psychological support over here, our psychological analysis. You see how many times we rejected off of this trend line? Okay, now we're finding a little resistance at the 70.2% fib at 74 cent. So it wouldn't surprise me that we come down just a little bit to cool off before we continue our ascent. So remember the small time frame, guys. This is what I see. Okay, we're going to come down to any of these fibs before we start our next leg in the structure. Now these targets are subject to change, so make sure you click the link in the description below to join the PipSniper Patreon. So this is the small time frame right here. Wouldn't surprise me we come down a little bit just to cool off, nothing to worry about at all. We have entered into phase E. Okay, I must make it aware to you that we have entered into phase E. And what phase E is what I like to call point of no return, because you target liquidity resting at your last all-time high, which is sitting at $3.40. See, we're just cooling off down here. Okay, that's all we're doing, is we're just having a cool off. Okay, you can see that we've been in this Wyckoff accumulation range for over 600 days, and we've been in this backup phase for over 200 days. Okay, so this is exactly what we see with XRP, right? We see a 5-wave move to the upside, right? You have your A, your B, and then your C wave in a 335 Elliott wave flat pattern. You have your accumulation at the lows for over 600 days, and then you have your continuation targeting liquidity resting at the last all-time high. Okay, so this is XRP. This is the top-down analysis on XRP. If you want to see more analysis like this, especially throughout the day, then click the link in the description below. I have a bunch of XRP charts you guys can take a look at. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out. And take it easy. See you in the next one.